Okay, I'd like to call the Joint Special School Building Committee to order. We're at Nashua High School North Boardroom. It's Thursday, April 24th, 2025, and it's 7 p.m. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Sure. Alderman Dowd?
Present.
Alderman Wilshire? Here. Alderman Timmons? Here. Alderman Sullivan is not here. Alderman Lopez?
Here.
Miss Raymond? Here. Miss Bishop is here. Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Miss Daniels-Williams? Here. Miss Prin? Here. We have a quorum.
All right, we have a quorum. And now if the clerk would lead us in a prayer, and would Alderman Lopez lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Almighty God, we have the high honor and serious duty to manage the educational affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding, which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all of our fellow citizens. So help us God. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. If there are no objections, I'll move to waive the readings of the minutes of the March 27th, 2025 meeting of the Joint Special and place them on file. Remarks by Chairman. Since our last meeting, I introduced and got fully approved the move of $2.2 million from the middle school project to the security vestibule project. And we had our first meeting at New Searles, which I'm sure Harvey's going to cover in detail. And the project is underway. Also, the first games have been played at Stella Stadium. And we have other things that will be coming up tonight to some additional work at Stella's. And the portables were moved to Elm Street. And the reason that happened is that when the portable got to the landfill, they decided they didn't want them. So after a few frantic phone calls and people running around, especially Brendan and Sean, it was determined that they were going to bring them and leave them at Elm Street. They now belong to Director Cummings. He can do whatever he wants with them, because we're done with them. So they have like 15 different suggestions of how to use them, and that's up to the city, so. But they are moved. They're out of Maine Dunstable. Okay.
Alderman Dowd, sorry.
Yes, Ms. Raymond?
What happens to the space where they were? Is it getting like regraded and grassed? What's going to go there?
You think we're just gonna leave them rocks and stuff?
Well, I would hope not. I just was curious if there was.
No, part of the project is
So-
landscaping. There'll be, I'm sure he'll cover it in more detail, but there'll be a lot of landscaping at both schools.
Is there like a fence or anything to keep the kids from wandering in the meantime?
Yes. There will also be a fence around the portables at Elm Street, just to keep people out of them.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Not a security fence, not a full-fledged fence.
Chairman Dow, question.
Yes,
Can we use them for something else like a warming center or cooling center?
as long as you talk to Director Cummings, they belong to him now, so the city can do whatever they want with them.
Okay, that's an idea.
Yes.
I did in fact ask Director Cummings that about 10 minutes after you told us that they were available. And so hopefully they're examining the area. They only have bathrooms in them, so I don't know if they can be they can't be a shelter because you can't take a shower. But they might be an opportunity for at least the welcoming center that Director Bagley was looking for. And there were a couple of places that they have the hookups with, for example, over in Pine Street where the police training center was.
So,
So they're working on it.
yeah, they do have bathrooms, and running water, electricity, and heat. So, but it would all have to be hooked up wherever they go.
Yeah, I guess there's a foundation that needs to be installed and that might be pricey, but still cheaper than building a building.
But as I told Director Cummings, it's off our nickel. Somebody else
Okay.
has to come up with the money. Okay. Sean, was anybody else had any questions? Sean?
Nothing at this point.
Nothing? Okay. Let's see. Then we'll have construction manager's report. Harvey, Brendan Arell. Want to introduce our new?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Brendan Orell, Harvey Construction, project manager. Here with me tonight, I have my assistant project manager, Michael Space. Michael has been working on Maine, Dunstable, and Birch Hill with me for approximately a year and a half now. And he's been doing a lot of the legwork behind the scenes on new Searles. So he'll start to pop in as well and help me with some of the construction updates and keeping you folks up to date with what's going on at the school throughout the course of the summer.
Our leadership is getting younger, and all the older people have been promoted, move on to bigger and better things.
It appears.
So I'll jump into a brief construction update. Got a few updates on what's going on now that we're back in action at Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. And then also a brief update on New Searles.
Was it tombstones?
Very dark.
Tombstone.
So a few photos. These are both from Maine Dunstable. As you all recall, yes. Over at Birch Hill, it was voted to keep those portables there. So what we are currently doing is, the photo on the right side is actually where our construction trailer used to be. So in order to, reduce spending on the project, we decided to move our field office to the portables over at Birch Hill. So we were temporarily set up in there until the end of the project. We can always move inside the building as well. And that allows us to then restore that area. We want to get loam and seed down while the weather's cool and it's raining, start to get grass growing back. So to Miss Raymond's question from earlier, on the left photo, that is the current look at what the space looks like after removing the portables. So we had showed photos of this as all of those items were being installed previously. And what is happening now is the construction equipment is moving in there. Temporary construction fencing is going up around it to enclose that area while the work is completed.
Are you saying that the cement foundations are still there? Because they're supposed to be moved to Elm Street too, right?
They take some time to get out of the ground, Rick. So once we pulled the portables on Tuesday and then Wednesday was the final pull, now we get the site work crew in and they do exactly the opposite of what they did about 2 years ago. They start pulling those foundations out. The nice piece is, though, that we can actually sort of just grab them from right above and pull them out of the ground. So they should come out pretty quickly, Rick, and then they do head down to Elm Street. Also down at Elm Street today, we did just run around the portables with some temporary construction fencing. Just want to, ensure that people are staying away from them and not using them as a jungle gym. So putting up some safety measures just to ensure that everything is enclosed down there. Over at Birch Hill, we had previously removed the construction trailer, so that left the site right before the snow started flying last winter. And we are now restoring that area at the rear of the school, removing any equipment that we have, portable toilets, things of that nature, and just starting to clean up both sites. And then we will transition further into the site work restoration piece of it once the students depart. So really a lot of planning and, purchasing the products that we need for the summer, getting things on site, getting things scheduled and lined up for the summer. Any questions on Birch Hill or Maine Dunstable?
When is this new sign going to be installed at Birch Hill?
The new sign will go in over the summer, likely in July. We'll begin with, there's a lot of curbing removal, some pretty heavy site work demolition that goes on at both schools. We end up, resurfacing and repaving quite a few areas. The areas that don't get repaved get seal coated and crack sealed. We put up fencing around both playgrounds, all items that were previously presented to the group here. And all of those items will begin to progress substantially once the students depart. Another big piece that we'll be doing as well, Rick, is the transformer replacement at Maine Dunstable. So we had a good meeting on site on Wednesday morning with all of the utility crews to go over how that work's going to progress, the exact timeline of it, and receive some very good news from them that will lead to some cost-saving measures in that work, with Eversource sort of complying with us. So we have some exploratory investigation next week to make sure that the items are intact, and if they are intact, then we do not have to replace them, which allows us to reduce some cost.
So just for info for the public, the transformer we had there belonged to Eversource, and it was like a rental. And now we've purchased the transformer, and it belongs to us now.
That is correct. And the transformer arrived very early April. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So the transformer is currently in stock, ready to go on. The pad is ready to go. In Eversource, they will be coming out on site on Monday, 6/23. They will be removing the transformer. And the Friday prior to that, we'll be bringing in a temporary generator. And we've been working on temporary provisions to make sure the fire alarm stays active, the security system stays active, and making sure that any other work that needs to go on inside the building can also progress, so.
Question is,
Thank you, Chair. This is through you to Avi. My question is, the signage is the same size and the same location?
It is. It is almost identical. The only difference is that there used to be placard numbers on it.
Right.
And those are no longer there. The principal had, requested that she did not receive those.
Okay.
Yep.
that? Any other questions? Yes, Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. So are we still on track to turn over the schools, both of them, before the kids return at the end of August?
Yes, we are. Yes, so both schools will, the site work, it's a pretty heavy lift over the course of the summer, but it progresses very, very well. So this is similar in nature to what we did, at Pennachuck at the end. We were paving and kind of wrapping things up and getting out of the site. So when we leave, it's a fresh new look. So the biggest piece on our end is really making sure we have everything. And that's what we've been doing, really, Mike, behind the scenes throughout the last 4 or 5 months to make sure we have all the pieces of the puzzle, the things that go in the ground, the bases. There's some bollards that go in front of the doors, similar to what we've done at the other schools. And those take quite some time to get. So it will progress very, very quickly once the students depart. And then the other piece that I do want to give an update on is the elevator, actually. So the elevator, all the pieces and parts have arrived. They're going to be working on it throughout the course of next week with the students out of school. They have approximately a week and a half of work after that to complete the installation of the cab. All of the, components that actually operate it are already installed. A lot of the mechanical work and electrical work has progressed as well and is nearing completion. So it's really pulling the rest of it together. And that puts us right on track to do inspections once the students depart as well, and turn over the elevator well early on into the summer.
All right, great. And then for the community members who use those playgrounds in the summer, should we be expecting to tell the people who live in those areas that the playgrounds will not be available this summer again?
So we certainly should look into provisions for that, Rick, just because of the nature of the work that's going on both sites. Ultimately, the fencing will be done very quickly. However, there will be quite a bit of it, work going on throughout the other
From a
areas.
liability standpoint, if we have any heavy equipment being operated in the area, we probably shouldn't allow use
Okay.
till they're done.
But we should get the word out. Thanks.
But I would imagine that they'll be usable towards the end of the summer.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
One other question.
Yes.
Thank you. So just for the public clarification on the vacation, this next week vacation, there is construction in Maine, Dunstable, and Birch Hill, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Very, very minor items. We're working on, some minor punch list items at the interior of the school, some painting items and things like that. And then Maine Dunstable, there will be excavation work going on with those foundations as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Brendan?
Over in New Searles. So it's been a quiet week. Just wanted to show a few photos of some of the items that we'll be addressing and look at what the space looks like currently. So the photo in the bottom left shows you actually where the new entry will come in, and that is actually the location where the new office will sit. So all of that will be transitioned. All of those items were moved out very quickly from Sean and his team. So it was available and ready for us to start coming on site. We've met with the fire department, received all of our local permits, and now we're working through the state permitting process for the fire alarm system. So this week, we arrived on site, started to drop off some items, install some temporary conditions items, temporary walls, things of that nature, drop off dumpsters, storage containers, put up site signage. And then Sean and his team, Gary Connors, was able to work with us to help us relocate the existing main entrance to another door, just to prep us for some of the foundation work that will close down the existing main entrance. So luckily, with the 2 entry vestibules at this school, we were able to install a new AI phone and all of the new security provisions very quickly over in the other vestibule. And then we can relocate those elements as required afterward.
So you quickly want to address where the front work's going to be done in the school and the fact that the 2 trees are going to disappear?
So
What 2 trees?
Not the trees.
I'll let him explain.
So there's 3 storefronts right here, 1, 2, 3. And those storefront systems, so they span in between the brick and they go from the ground level all the way up to the roof level. And when we were working early on this project, one item that came up was, so the main office will be right behind this one. And you'll have a series of principals' offices back there. So similar to Dr. Crisp, if you recall, we had provided presentations late after the completion of the project, letting you know that we were installing a window with secure entry glass in it. And that was to protect the office because that element was not originally in the design. So very similar to here, these windows do not have that security glass. So although you're putting in all of these security elements, the office would remain exposed. So we started looking at this item early on in design, and the architect has now completed their design for the replacement of those. So we will end up ripping out those, and those are asbestos laden. And as you can see in here, they're molding. They're starting to leak in various areas. And then again, there is not secure glass or the ability to install secure glass inside of it. So we looked into many different options to try and address it. And eventually we came up with ripping them out, putting a new wall in place. So it will receive new windows with the secure glasses required in the locations where it is required. And then they will also receive new siding. So it will sort of refresh the front of the school. And to Rick's point, we're not positive whether or not we'll need to remove this tree, but this one does bridge into the new entryway and will likely need to be removed. And then this one will probably be trimmed down and may need to be removed as we're completing the work. So we have been in discussions with Sean and Rick about what elements could just be put back there afterward.
So the principal of the school was not concerned about losing that big tree at all. There one tree that they were concerned about is the memorial tree, which is over towards the entrance. It's not being touched. And then there will be new landscaping. And we talked about the sidewalk, right?
Yes, so ultimately, we're looking at the sidewalk is very cracked. So we had identified this element early on, and when we get into it over here to build the new foundations, we're gonna end up damaging it pretty heavily. So what we've discussed thus far is looking at options for replacement or repair, and seeing where we fall with that as we go through the course of the project.
And I think we also talked about more handicap accessible along that sidewalk, because the only one is where that crosswalk is right now.
Correct. There is only one up here. It's very, very far, and then you have one here as well, and that's all you have down the length of it.
We don't want the Ward 9 Alderman tripping on Election Day.
Yes.
So any questions on new Searles? But I can tell you that the principal and her staff are really, really excited. Can't wait for this to get going.
Yeah, Tricia has been excellent. They've all been great.
Yeah. All right, Ms. Raymond.
What's the approximate length of time for the project?
So we're starting, really, it's 4/21 to right now. The projected completion date is September 23rd. However.
Of this year?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it's a very quick progression throughout the summer, just like Dr. Crisp, really. It's almost the same in nature, but what extends it out a little bit further is that last month we had showed the phasing plan, and there's essentially, the old main office is like across the hallway from the vestibule. And so in order to create the new vestibule and get it on the side of the building, the architect came up with using a few new classrooms and then turning the old office into classrooms. So in essence, we now have two areas, whereas Dr. Crisp was just one small area. So it is a little bit longer than Dr. Crisp, but I intend to be out of there by mid-October. October 17th is really the date I'm thinking, because we are right now just planning and bringing the storefronts to completion as the architect finalized their design, and just looking at how those elements may impact the school population. We want to make sure that we're planning it accordingly, so.
And then do you anticipate, because that will eke into, election season as well and some of the other sports and stuff like that, do you anticipate anything else having to be moved other than those two, that little classroom area for the end of this year and the beginning of next year?
No, I do not.
Okay.
That was the first question I brought up.
Yep, that was Rick's first question in our construction meeting, was addressing a few of those elements.
So
And
they go in on the other side, so it's
yep. I mean, one of the big things that we had discussed very early on is, just like Dr. Chris, we're putting in a brand-new fire alarm system, state-of-the-art addressable system. So when we do that, we have to take down the fire alarm system in the building. And then you only have sprinkler protection. So what ends up happening is the teachers are allowed to come in during the summer. However, we cannot have students or student activities, at least during those summer months. But just like Dr. Chris, we pushed very diligently during the summer months to get that up and running. And what we've actually started doing is getting above the ceilings and running wires over the next few weeks to just start
prepare.
roughing in and getting things prepared. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's the schedule's been fully laid out by phases, and the principal's already been blessed.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have copies of those? Did I just miss them?
No, I don't think we've brought them here yet.
Okay.
I had, I presented it last month, but I could send along a copy to Rick and have him get it over to you as well.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have one other
Yes,
question. Can you
Gloria?
go back a slide, please?
Absolutely.
Okay, right where the window are cracked, or the mildew or whatever that's on there.
Yep.
Is that secure? Can somebody shoot into that window and break it?
Yes, they could.
yeah.
So that is why we are replacing it.
I mean, I shouldn't have said that, but I'm saying.
It is
Okay,
not intrusion resistant is the industry term.
well, I want to know.
Yep.
No, I know, I didn't want to give anyone any ideas.
I don't know that, but I got that idea. I was like, he's sitting here talking about the tree, and maybe we can do it simultaneously. Take the tree and put the glass in at the same time.
Yes, that is what will take place.
The tree is hiding that right now.
Correct.
Okay, see?
All right.
But I just want
Yes,
to
Ms.
piggyback.
Raymond?
I mean, I think it's a good point. I mean, one of the things that I think is really cool about Nashua is that over my last 7 years on the board, I've seen a dedicated effort to really upgrade all of our buildings, one by one. And Nashua has spent a lot of money making sure that our schools are safe.
Safe, absolutely.
And so I appreciate that we have this continued attention to it, and that's been incorporated in this project as well.
Right.
So, and Chris Lassard is part of the team on the meetings and the high-def cameras and as we call him, Mr. Ballard. So there'll be more security as well.
Yes.
And as we've mentioned, it's sad that we have to spend this money to do that, but based on some of the things that have happened lately, we don't want any of our kids hurt.
No, never.
Especially in our schools, so.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to the rest of the country, but I want our schools to be secure, so.
Yeah, and I think, I know that there's a lot of communities across the state who don't have the support that Nashua has for doing these types of projects, so I really appreciate it.
I can think of one big one north of here, but, are you covering for E EEI?
EEI do they have any items, Sean?
He was actually here last week,
Yeah,
but we didn't have a meeting, so he lost his chance.
Yes,
They are effectively done with all the MEP type work.
correct.
Both schools, just a few minor punch list items.
elevator, final work, right?
They'll be involved when we do the electrical hitch-ups at Birch Hill.
Correct. So EEI does have one element that I can touch upon, Rick. At Birch Hill, they are doing their final piece of the puzzle, and that is the switchgear replacement.
Okay.
But they are effectively complete otherwise.
And the new elevator at Main Dunstable will be more like the elevator at McCarthy. It had to be upgraded, but it has the TV inside it and the cameras, and
Yep.
it's by code. So it's not that we
Netflix.
wanted to put them in, but it's code. So it's a pretty secure elevator.
Yep. Two-way communication.
Yeah, two-way communication. All right.
Okay. We'll get into some recommendation packages. So tonight I have 12 recommendation packages. These are the remaining subcontractor recommendations for New Searles Elementary. So last month, we had presented the initial 9 or 10 to get demolition and a lot of the long lead items released. And then following the Board of Aldermen approval on 4-8, we've started to work through submittals and a lot of the items that we do behind the scenes to get these things moving. The steel for the building has actually already been fabricated, so we're moving very quickly behind the scenes. Thank you to Mike. So the first package I have to present tonight, Rick, this is Division 4 for masonry. For this scope of work, we received 2 bids, and we are recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder. That is Mascon Corporation of Laconia, New Hampshire, in a value of $46,700.
So I'll need a motion to approve the award of the masonry work for New Searles security upgrades to Mascon Corp. of Laconia, New Hampshire, in the amount of $46,700. So moved by Mrs. Raymond.
Okay.
He saw me first.
No,
Yeah.
that's okay.
You
I'm
raised your hand.
fine.
All right, any questions?
Who made the motion?
Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The second package I have to present tonight is for the millwork, the interior architectural millwork. For this scope of work, we had 3 bidders, and again, we are recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder. And this is Healy Works of Hillsborough, New Hampshire, in the value of $35,586.66.
So I'll need a motion to approve the architectural millwork at New Searles Elementary School security upgrade project to Healy Works of Hillsborough, New Hampshire, in the amount of $35,586.66.
So moved.
So, Mrs. Prin?
That was me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Daniels. All right, any discussion?
Daniel Williams?
Williams.
2 last names.
Gonna make it easier soon, aren't you?
Working on it, do my best.
If there's no discussion, questions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next package I have to present is for the roofing work, a small amount of roofing work down here. It also includes the metal gutters off of the new entry vestibule. For this scope of work, we had 2 bidders, and again, we are recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder, and that is Skyline Roofing of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the value of $11,650.
I'll need a motion to approve the roofing work for the New Searles Elementary School security upgrade project to Skyline Roofing of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount of $11,650.
So moved.
Ms. Prin.
Ms. Pratton.
Gonna wait till we,
Okay.
so the motion on the
The
floor is
motion,
to
so I
accept.
can-
Questions?
Yeah, just what's the square footage of that roof?
It's approximately 350 square feet.
Okay.
You think we're getting a low bid on a roof and we could play it other
Just
places?
I have no sense of scale for these things, so I was like, now I'm starting to actually be like, how much does construction cost per square foot?
Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next package I have to present is for the joint sealants. And for this scope of work, we had 2 bidders. And again, I am recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder. So again, this is for any sealants, caulking at windows and various substrates. And this is for reliable waterproofing of Canterbury, New Hampshire, in the value of $3,500.
So I'll need a motion to approve the work for the joint sealants at the new Searles Elementary School Security Update Project to reliable waterproofing Canterbury, New Hampshire, in the amount of $3,500.
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Wiltshire. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next package is for the foam in place or spray foam insulation at some various locations at different walls at the exterior and interior. For this scope of work, we had 1 bidder, so we are recommending the qualified bidder that we received, and that is Shea Insulation of Canaan, New Hampshire, in the value of $2,144.18.
So I'll need a motion to approve the work for spray foam insulation at the new Searles Elementary School Security Update Project to Shea Insulation of Canaan, New Hampshire, in the amount of $2,144.18.
So moved.
Ms. Raymond?
Sure.
Yes. Oh, Ms. Dan. Put your
Just
hand
look
up,
up,
because
Rick, look up.
your voice is also. All right, any discussion? See none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next package is for the metal siding and soffit panels at the new entry canopy. And we received 3 bids on this scope of work, and we are recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder. And that is Exterior Designs of Londonderry, New Hampshire, in the value of $8,850.
So I'll need a motion to approve the metal soffit and siding panels work for the new Searles Elementary School Security Update Project to Exterior Designs of Londonderry, New Hampshire, in the amount of $8,850.
So moved.
Alderman Lopez. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next package is the doors, frames, and hardware. So this currently includes the wood doors, hollow metal frames, and any hardware required to complete that scope of work. For this scope, we received 2 bids, and we are recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder. And that is Kelly Brothers of Hudson, New Hampshire, in the value of $29,550.
I'll need a motion to approve the door frames and hardware for the new Searles Elementary School Security Vestibule Project. Award to Kelly Brothers of Hudson, New Hampshire, in the amount of $29,550.
So moved.
Mr. Johnson? Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, signify, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Getting through it. The next package I have is for the acoustical ceilings and acoustical ceiling tile. For this scope of work, we received 6 bids, and I am recommending the lowest qualified, most complete bidder, and that is Northern Acoustical Ceilings of Tewksbury, Massachusetts, in the value of $13,200.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the acoustical ceiling tile, ACT work for the new Searles Elementary School Security Upgrade Project to Northern Acoustical Ceilings of Tewksbury, Mass, in the amount of $13,200.
So moved.
Alderman Wiltshire. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next package is for flooring and tiling, all the flooring and tiling work and various detail work as well, including the entrance grills at the new entry canopy. For this scope of work, we received 5 bids, and we are again recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder, and that is Triform Floor Covering of Hampstead, New Hampshire, in the value of $40,400.
So I'll need a motion to approve the flooring and tile work for the New Searles Elementary School Security Update Project to Triform Floor Covering of Hampstead, New Hampshire, in the amount of $40,400.
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Timmons. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The next package is for all of the interior painting. For this scope of work, we also received 5 bids, and I am recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder, and that is Marchand Painting of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the value of $10,100.
So I'll need a motion to approve the painting at the New Searles Elementary School Security Update Project to Marchand Painting of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount of $10,100. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire.
Discussion.
Discussion?
That's kind of cheap, isn't it? I mean, that don't even sound right.
They're pretty competitive. We had 5 bids, and several of them were very close in line to each other.
Oh, okay.
Very competitive bids.
Yeah,
We're not doing the whole school, it's only the,
okay.
It's a pretty small area as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, okay, because they're like, gee.
Why, you ask about the square footage?
Correct?
exactly. Any discussion? Or any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The next package is for window treatments, which are all the window shades and any detail work associated with that scope. For this scope of work, we only received 1 bid, so we are recommending the 1 qualified bidder, and that is Contract Window Fashions of Merrimack, New Hampshire, in the value of $7,094.56.
So I'll need a motion to approve the work for window treatment at the New Searles Elementary School Security Upgrade Project to Contract Window Fashions of Merrimack, New Hampshire, in the amount of $7,094.56. Ms. Raymond?
I'll make the motion, but I have a question.
All right, motion is made by Mrs. Raymond. Discussion, Ms. Raymond?
Thank you. I'm just curious, how many windows?
There are, so all of the windows that go along the office, and then all of the interior doors, and any windows associated with the new office outfit.
Okay. And they're all gonna have like roller shades or something
Yes.
different?
So we've on most of the doors, we've done the clutch roller shades with the clip down at the bottom.
Oh, okay,
And then
that's
on the
nice.
windows, I believe we've also gone with the clutch roller shades at all the windows previously. So we've stuck with basically the same standard with this architect as well. So it'll be the same type of thing that we've received at, McCarthy, Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable, et cetera.
Any other questions? Alderman Lopez?
Do you happen to know the square footage involved? I'm literally breaking, like, the other one was like $36 a foot, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of wondering now.
I don't, and I would state that it's not necessarily based upon square footage when it comes to the scope of work. It's more the quantity thereof. There are
quantity.
quite a few doors in the space, as well as a pretty extensive length of windows. So that's the best
So
information.
like
I
with
could
with
provide.
roofing, you have a lot of area to cover, but with this, it's just a big pane in the glass?
Correct. It's, yep, any openings in the doors and then the windows as well. Yep.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. And the final package that I have to present tonight, this is for the fire suppression scope of work, any sprinkler work, the design work, removing and relocating sprinkler heads, et cetera. For this scope of work, we received 2 bids, and we are recommending the lowest qualified and most complete bidder, and that is Hampshire Fire Protection of Londonderry, New Hampshire, in the value of $18,000.
So I'll need a motion to approve the work for fire suppression at New Searles Elementary School Security Update Project to Hampshire Fire Protection Company of Londonderry, New Hampshire, in the amount of $18,000.
So moved.
Ms. Prin, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That is all I have tonight.
All right.
I have a question for Javi.
Question?
Yes. In the foreseeable future, because of the tariff and all this other stuff that's happening, I was wondering if anything that we need to buy now or purchase now, before it's too late.
So that was, when we were speaking last month, a lot of the packages that we brought last month were for that specific purpose. So we certainly have been seeing some impacts from tariffs.
Okay.
What it's led to is some subcontractors being more selective in their work, ensuring that they are going to make money on the job that they're taking. And so we did have some early subcontractors backing out of, the scope of work and things like that. It certainly has shaken up the industry. Where it's hit us most consistently is on steel and then wood. It has not really trickled in all too much with respect to equipment and various items of that nature. It's mostly on the raw materials that we're seeing it right now.
Right.
Any other questions? Okay, Sean?
Okay, in your, well, I put in a read-ahead, not a read-ahead package, but I brought a hand-carried package to the meeting tonight. There's 5 items in there I want to discuss. 3 of them were approved by Alderman Dowd previously, but just to get the committee's assent for that decision, be going over those tonight. So the first one is for Musco Lighting. This is to replace the lighting surrounding Estella Stadium. All those are the big lights on the light standards. There were a couple of different approaches. Originally, they were asked to replace the lights that were out, and there's quite a few of them. And in talking to them, a large part of their work is mobilization. So they have to rent a crane and come from out of town and all that stuff. So they highly recommended that we just go ahead and replace all the lights at this time. We did exactly the same thing, I want to say about 12 years ago. We just replaced all the lights, and it was a good decision then. It's my recommendation that we do so again this time. Alderman Dowd already agreed with that. And the value of that is $22,000 to replace the lights at Stello Stadium to Musco Lighting.
So to cross the Ts and dot the Is, if I can have a motion to approve the action that I took on Alderman Lopez.
I will make the motion and have questions.
Okay, motion is to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I have a question. Sorry, I
had
thought
a
he had a
question, too.
question.
Why did we
I have a
vote on that?
question before we vote.
All right.
So did I.
Go ahead, you
Raymond?
had your question.
So my question was, are there going to be any energy savings, and are the replacement fixtures, like bulbs, if we need them, commercially available, acceptable? I mean, is there any concerns about that? Were the old ones flawed, or just easier to replace them all at once?
Sean?
Well, the life of these things is expected to be 10 to 15 years. It's a HID type fixture and bulb. Other lighting types wouldn't really work in this application, so we're sticking with the same type of bulb.
Okay, so there's some economy of scale. If some of these break, if they get replaced, though, does the school district do that? Does the city do that? Does the contractor come back and do that?
Probably the contractor. We were in discussions about who will be responsible for that in the future, whether it's school department or Park and Rec. So that's to be determined.
But I can tell you, the city doesn't have the capability. These are very special lights, and first question I had was, why are we replacing all of them? And we got, the company said it's significantly more expensive if you have another one that goes out, because they have to come back and reorganize, and it's far cheaper to do them all at once, because there's so many out. So, and if they're gonna last 15 years, now's the time to do them all, because they're all that old, and the next one could fail the day after they leave. So, any other questions? Ms. Raymond?
So you answered one of mine, which was the lifespan. I'm trying to picture what exactly it is that we're replacing. Is it just the light bulbs that are in there, or is it the whole, like the pole and the
Oh,
whole
no, 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 no,
apparatus?
just the lights themselves.
Just the lights themselves? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they have to bring a crane, and we've already worked with Park Rec. I told them, under no circumstances do you drive that crane across that field, or I'm going to have somebody's neck.
Oh, they better not.
So Park Rec's gonna oversee when they get the crane there and how to get to the light poles on the other side of the field, so that's all taken care of.
Better be a ladder.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, I'd like to actually amend the amount. I thought of this afternoon. I was reading the small print on this again. There is an additional fee. This is the light bulbs we're replacing. If for some reason they have to replace the ballasts or capacitors or fuses, that sort of thing, then they gave us the itemized cost for each of those. So I'm recommending another $3,000 on top of the $22,000 as a contingency. Because we're not going to really know until they get up there and take the old ones out if it's a ballast issue or there was a light bulb issue. So total be $25,000.
Question.
So, Ms. Raymond, you made that motion?
No,
I made the motion, but I had a
Oh,
question.
okay,
As
so I would
amendment.
say not to exceed 25,000,
Okay, I would amend it.
all right? So the motion on the floor is to award the changing of the lights to, tell the name of this company.
3,000.
Musco in the amount not to exceed 25,000.
Question.
Any other questions, Ms.? Yes,
Aye.
Gloria?
Out of the original $200,000 for Stellos, this does not come out of that, right? Remember
The bond.
No,
no, this is bonded,
are you talking about the,
$200,000.
The bond?
Yes.
yes, this comes out of the bond.
Okay, it comes out of the bond. Okay, I just wanted to
Absolutely,
make
yep.
sure, because you'll be having people screaming.
Any of the maintenance, things we're doing come out of the bond.
Okay,
And we're fine as far as costs go for them.
okay.
And we had another 200,000, so 200,000 from donated for the field work, so that came off the cost of replacing the field. Question? Alderman
Yeah,
Lopez?
just to Sean, there's like checking of the math on this, right? Like, 'cause this is a public meeting, so they know we just budgeted to potentially repair all of them. If they're like, oh, yeah, definitely the thing's broken, then someone's making sure it really is, right?
I don't think I'll be going up on the lift.
No, but like they can show the burned out whatever, or,
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
Yeah,
I know, no disrespect to the fine folks at Musco, but I just figured if they see a blank check, maybe they'll just be like, oh, let's do them all.
no, they are doing
We are
it all.
paying them to do them all.
I know, but there's a bunch, we're doing the lighting, but the extra $3,000 was
Oh,
in case
yeah.
additional replacements needed to be
Right.
made.
No.
right.
They won't replace those unless they have to.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Mr. Johnson?
What's the schedule for this?
Hasn't really been determined. I would say the spring sports season ends about the time school ends, so it would happen after that,
Okay, thank you.
Maybe not during the graduation ceremony.
not during
No.
graduation, right?
Before graduation,
All
right?
right, any other
Yeah, if we
questions?
can-
Frame in the background of all the
After
pictures.
graduation.
If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
The next one is also a recommendation that Alderman Dowd already approved, but we're looking for your assent for that decision. And this is for chain link fencing. So if you look at the stands from the side, you'll see a gap between the metal, kind of like stairs, and a solid place. So that is where a lot of birds like to go. And strangely enough, a lot of kids have been crawling in underneath there and under the stands. So it's primarily, so birds can get through chain link fence, right? That's not enough. But this is primarily to stop the large two-legged creatures that might want to climb under the stands. And the amount is, so this is to O'Rourke Fence. They are the same company that did the fencing that's there now. And the amount of $5,000.
Okay, the things that get underneath the stands, deposit things on the roof, which at some point is gonna cost us $600,000 to replace. You have that bid for the people to come remove all that stuff?
that's coming
That'll
up.
be next.
Oh,
So it's a mess underneath there. This is to prevent that from happening in the future, so we're not replacing a roof at 600,000 again.
There will be another purchase order down the line to do something else. Probably some sort of chicken wire that would stop birds as well. Has to be applied next to this to keep the birds out. We'll talk about what occurs to the roof right now a little bit later.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Wait, who moved that?
Heather.
Oh,
No one did.
oh,
Well, no, I just did, okay?
yeah, I know I heard somebody.
Nice save, clerk.
All right,
Just to write everything down.
so I think, all in favor, yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Sean?
Okay, the next one is for the press box shutters. So we obtained bids from 3 different companies. It was immediately apparent that we're not comparing apples to oranges, so I had to go back and forth with them quite often, which is why this wasn't in the package originally. The original low bidder was Aloha Garage Doors, and they bid $13,500. However, the shutters they were recommending are kind of flimsy. I guess that's the best word to use for it. And the other companies had something a little more rigorous. And so we checked that out. We went back to Aloha Garage Doors, and they gave us a bid for the model that we think will work well. It's something that might be used in like a hurricane environment to protect windows. If you look at Stello Stadium, the press box is up pretty high, so particularly with nor'easters, we'd need that extra protection. So my recommendation is to award this contract to Aloha Garage Doors in the amount of $16,875 for press box shutters.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the award of the shutters for the press box at Stella Stadium to Aloha Garage Doors in the amount of $16,875.
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Wiltshire. Any discussion? The one is already broken and the others aren't far behind, so they're in bad shape, so they need to be replaced. Yes, Ms. Bishop?
I just have to say, the entire winter, I've been over doing classes at the YMCA, and we face out the windows, and I've been waiting for that one folding chair that's been sitting on top of the roof to just fly away, and it hasn't moved at all. I have an irrational fear of trampolines, like, flying around town, so I've been watching it specifically. It's never moved.
Probably stuck to the roof.
It's an
There's
inspiration
something
to
going
us
on
all.
up there, but I'm just like, one of these days, that chair is just gonna fly away.
That chair is all of us.
There's actually a table up there too.
And a
it's
table.
For the football coaches. And
But I've been watching it diligently, like waiting.
I think I mention
for
it every time I
tragedy.
go there, but anyway, it hasn't gone anywhere, and we've had some pretty windy nights.
Yes.
All right,
Nail down.
so the motion on the floor, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, these next two are kind of related, and they deal with the same issue. We went out and got the bids for the roof repair. We have a consultant named ARM Consulting, and they looked at all the school roofs across the city. We had them look at Stellos as well, and they came up with what needed to be done there. In their assessment, and then it turns out with the low bidder, the whole roof, this is underneath the bleachers, was full of bird doo-doo. And it was considered, I was deciding to say crap or doo-doo, or what's the right word for it? Guano?
Say 'em all.
Refuse? Feces, poop?
Yes, yes.
That's it.
But it's very nasty, and
Yeah.
it's, I'd consider it hazardous. It's not anybody that we should be just going up there with a shovel or anything. So Gary Connors actually had a guy he used for masonry cleaning. If you take a look at actually the North High School gym here, the siding used to be all just full of green stuff coming down. So they cleaned that and repointed all the bricks. So he seemed like a good guy to talk to since he already had all the equipment. And he gave us a price of $7,300 to clean off the roof at Stellos Stadium. And that is to RL Masonry and Construction.
You didn't go under, did you?
I'll need a motion to approve the
Didn't go under.
cleaning of the roof at Stella Stadium to R&L Masonry and Construction in the amount of $7,300. And
So
believe me,
moved, but I have a
if,
question.
yes,
So moved,
motion.
but I have a question.
we're gonna have the motion first.
Yep, so
All right.
moved.
All right, so
question.
moved. All right, question.
Are we also replacing the roof over there?
No, this is to prep the roof so we can repair it.
Okay, so it needs repairs.
It's
Yeah,
repairing it.
to repair the roof, originally, they had, the roofing company thought we should replace it right now. But it was determined by others looking at it that we could do the repair. At the point when we have to replace that roof, right now, the price would be $600,000, which is not within the scope of what we're talking about. But the next thing that comes up after this one will be the repair of the roof, so it doesn't leak.
Repair, not replace.
Repair, not replace. So right now, we're talking about cleaning off the material that's on the roof. Ms. Raymond?
Can we make sure that the material as it's being cleaned off does not end up on the field at all? Because I don't want to then have to clean it up off of the beautiful, very expensive new field. It feels like it would be easier if it goes
No, it's the opening.
asphalt or,
The opening actually is the other way.
Okay,
and-
good.
And part of their responsibility is to make sure that none of the stuff they take off stays in the stadium, leaves.
okay.
Just be careful if you're walking a sidewalk in front of it.
No. Like
gotta be
like,
hazardous
we really
waste.
have to make sure
I
that
mean,
there's
dog
no.
waste is, so.
Now, we are treating it as hazardous waste, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not anything you want to have down in stadium.
Days are the pigeons, some days are
So the
the.
motion on the floor is to award to R&L Masonry and Construction at the amount of $7,300. The motion's been made. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So finally, the aforementioned roof went out and obtained bids. We received 3. The low bid was North Star Construction in the amount of $5,000. If you look at the package I just gave you, if you take the 7,300 and add it to 5,000, you get 12,300, and that's still lower than the next lowest bid. So the other 2 bidders did not talk about the roof condition. They just said, this is our number. The low bidder said, we're not touching it. So that's why we went ahead and got the other people to come in.
Got it.
So again, the recommendation to repair Stello Stadium roof underneath the grandstands is $5,000 North Star Construction.
So I'll need a motion to approve the repair of the roof at Stella Stadium to North Star in the amount of $5,000. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Question, yes, Ms. Johnson?
Just, do we know that that's a set number? Like, could they go up there and say, oh, this is, there's more repairs needed?
They had a chance to review it. I believe they
okay.
did. They had a map provided by ARM Consulting that showed exactly what had to be done.
Okay,
So it's a pretty firm price.
thanks.
Yeah, and if they found something that they didn't anticipate, and they'd have to come back to us. All right,
Point out.
Alderman Lopez?
I was just gonna point out, the next thing is the letter from them where it says what they want and then the little stage for porta potty and everything, so. It details all their stuff.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Invoices?
Invoices, I'm reading from the agenda for tonight. We have 2 invoices from Energy Efficient, Inc., totaling $198,549.40 for work at Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable. 2 invoices from Harriman, the architect, totaling $12,305.72, again, Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable. 2 invoices from Harvey Construction totaling $118,838.84, still Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. We have 2 invoices from Hertz Furniture for furniture purchased for McCarthy Middle School totaling $75,787.92. If you're wondering about that, one of the large numbers was for the furniture for the outside cafeteria area. Very rigorous stuff. And then the rest of it was assorted furnishings and glides and protections for the chairs in the school, which we want to say we ordered that back in November. We have 2 invoices from O'Rourke for, this is the fencing, 1 invoice totaling $30,650 and no cents. And then we have 1 invoice from RED Sports. They are the company that installed the turf at Stellos, $220,044.71. By project for the middle school, that's $75,787.92. And for Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable, $329,693.96. And for Stellos Stadium, $250,694.71. Total of all invoices, $656,176.59.
So I'll need a motion to pay the following invoices for the middle school project: $75,787.92. Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable invoices, $329,693.96. Stella Stadium, $250,694.71, for a total of $656,176.59. So moved. Belden Wilshire. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, comments by committee members? Ms. Raymond?
Thank you, Alderman Dowd. I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that the Board of Education has been working on our facilities rental policy, which is KF, and updating it. And so we have, as part of the update, which will be voted on May 12th, officially removed the Elm Street, Chestnut Street Gym and the Keefe Auditorium from our policy, which probably we should have done last year when we sent it over, but there were other parts of the policy that needed to be updated. So I don't know what the city is doing with the Keefe and the Chestnut Street in the meantime, but if you want it to be available for rentals, it's no longer on our list, so people can't rent it through us.
The Keefe Auditorium, is they're putting together an auditorium commission right now. They will take over running the auditorium.
Great. So just FYI, it won't be on our policy, and if it gets passed, it won't be on the website for us to rent it out, which is appropriate.
Yep. Do you know if the Board of Education ever formally turned over Elm Street to the city as no longer a school?
We did. We had a motion to do that, oh gosh, a year ago.
So there was one weird motion where it did something, and then we had to come back and do an official motion to turn it over to the city.
Yep.
And we did that, because I had said we had before, and that wasn't correct. It was the motion after, it was like August or September.
I actually recall we made a motion to accept it as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure, because somebody asked the question, so I said I'll get it right from the people that know. All right, anything else?
That's it.
We have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to,
So moved by 100 people. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed?
Yay.
Yeah, I think we're adjourned at 8:04.